Bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong. This is Joe, the bearded historian. He'll tell you an interesting story. Be careful of his soldiers, they can be brats. This is Angel, she's an entity. She'll cause chaos and plant her hands at you. This is Sue, she likes spirits, not the alcohol. She's the reason this channel exists. This is David, he likes fire trucks. He's here occasionally. Bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong. We preserve his story. Okay, welcome to Friday. The weekend's coming up and I need a break. We've got a race and we got some signs that Joe and I saw while traveling. We're too big to put into a short, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I've got a egg and spoon race because summer, and that seems like a summer activity. Are you ready? Here we go. Shout out time. Here's a shout out just for you. You support me, so I support you. This shout out is for our friends. Let's see who it is today. Alright, we got Sandra. I don't know why that's doing that. Skipping, Ayla, Addie, Jerry, Lynch, Lower, Hilda, Great Lakes, Skipping, yeah, I didn't know you can continue. Once you dropped egg and when I played you couldn't continue. Ensign, yeah, Eva, Scully, Cinephile, Eddie, stop dropping your egg. Let Them Live, Great Lakes, Scott, Rural. Let's see here. He's going to drop his egg again, aren't you, Eddie? Yep, there he goes. Vaughn. Oh, it's going to be Vaughn this time. Alright, so we've got Vaughn Waving, who I could not find alphabetically for reasons, because it's my phone just had to be weird, who's gaming. So we've got landscaping, all kinds of fun little mobile games, and some shorts of games, and lives of games. So, yeah, Vaughn does a lot of gaming. So, if you're a gamer or interested in games, check him out. Like, share, comment. Have a good day. Come on, give me the sign. Go for Pete's, come on. I hate this thing sometimes. I had the sign. Oh, yeah. Alright. I'll figure out the sign in a little bit.
Yeah. Well, this marker here was known as the Silent Guide back in the 1800s and early 1900s. When people would come down the Fort Pierre to Deadwood Trail, this is one of the markers that they were looking for. And it kind of like, in Nebraska, everybody was always looking for Scotts Bluff. Some of the more remarkable features of the Oregon Trail. Well, up here, they had specific trails. The Grindstone Buttes was pretty popular because everybody knew what they were looking for. When the bullwhackers would send their cattle trails through. But this one here, it kind of became a feature point for both settlers, but also for ranchers, because one group didn't want any more people moving into the area, and so some nights they would come up and they would tear the thing down. And then another guy would put it back up and sat up there with a rifle to keep it intact. Well, they wound up building this. The original version was made in 1900 by W.S. Jones. The community rebuilt it in 1924. This last iteration was set up by a community effort in 1999. And so that's what's currently up in place today. It's got no roads leading to it, so you wouldn't be able to hike up to it. But they posted a neat little sign right there telling the small details on it. But yeah, this is I mean, it's visible for I think a good 15 miles out. You know,
It takes.
yeah, if you know what you're looking for. But from the other road, over on the old highway, you couldn't see it. Of course, then again, we weren't really looking either.
No.
So, but yeah, this is off of a Grindstone Road, which cuts through the middle of South Dakota. But yeah, what's funny is if you look at the map, you can see there's where Silent Guide is, and there's where the highway is.
Geese.
And birds.
Birds.
Not the birds. Hi,
Birds. Birds.
Oh my.
Birds. So many birds.
Angel called out the birds to help us.
Apparently. We got distracted by birds.
Birds.
We usually don't get distracted by birds, but you get distracted a lot.
Well, it's also interesting because this is near the back road back into Cottonwood. So that would be our next turn, is to go back down to Cottonwood, and from there we can head on to Wall and onto Rapid and find Mommy a cable. Mommy's so rough on her equipment.
I am. I blame you though.
Blame me?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know.
You shouldn't blame me then.
Why not?
I'm innocent.
No.
Too many buttons.
What happens when you have a new car? You can't remember how to turn all the buttons on. There we go. Alright, read the sign, Mr. Bud.
Yeah, for Civilian Conservation Corps Camp NP1, or DNP1, located to the southeast of the cave entrance in Wind Cave Canyon. Companies 2754 on 7/16/34 to 11/1/39, and number 2757 detachment from April the 18th, 1940 to the 1st of August, 1940. Civilian Conservation Corps were federal relief programs during 1933 to 1942 that gave jobless men work renovating abused lands. The Army built 48 200-man camps in South Dakota and provided food, clothing, medical care, pay, and programs of education, recreation, and religion for 23,790 enrollees, single men aged 17 to 25, who sent 25 of their $30 wages to their families, and war veterans.
Wow.
Camps and work projects were supervised by another 2,800 men. The Office of Indian Affairs ran smaller units for 4,554 American Indians. Now, the Camp Wind Cave was part of the National CCC program to improve the nation's park system, supervised by the National Park Service. Enrollees developed Wind Cave National Park and Jewel Cave National Monument. The Wind Cave Civilian Conservations renovated tour trails and installed the lighting. They constructed the park water and sewer systems, parking area, some guardrails, and 18.6 miles of big game fence. The Pigtail Bridge and several smaller ones, and several miles of road. The CCs helped build 10 buildings, helped the WPA remodel 5 others, and landscaped headquarters area and State Highway at Jewel Cave. They renovated the cave, disposed of old buildings, and built a headquarters building, parking lot, and an 800-foot trail.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. The thing that's funny is that, you know, for everybody who hates the Democrats and the New Deal, you know, they were looking for things for people to do during the Depression. This was a way to get people both back to work, but also give them an education. And
it also seems like they got a lot of stuff done that may not have been able to do otherwise.
Yeah. Because you think about how bad unemployment was back then. You know, they had people waiting in lines for food and stuff, and 48,200 men just in South Dakota alone that this program helped. And of course, you know, then the World War II happened, And a lot of those camps wound up closing or, going into other service. The thing I find funny is that this one here shut down on the 1st of August in 1940. The year 4 months later, Pearl Harbor happened.
Right.
So we were already gearing up for war, even though we officially weren't in war yet.
Right.
But yeah, we had a lot of these camps because, when we've gone up past Jewel Cave a couple times, we've seen the one marker up there. And of course, then there's the other marker over by Pringle. And there's one up by Pactola.
We need more signs.
More signs. And this is one of these nice places that we're just north of Hot Springs, right outside of the Wind Cave National Park. So, but yeah, we'll take a peek at a few other ones and go from there.
Okay. Gazebo. A little pretty little sculpture thingy in Hot Springs. Kidney Springs Gazebo, it says. That's kind of cool. I didn't even notice that. Well, that seems safe. Hey, babes, did you see this?
What is it?
Broken pillar.
Useful in the treatment of chronic diseases of the gastrointestinal tract, diseases of the liver, and biliary passages, disorders of the genitourinary tract, and in sluggish conditions of the alimentary tract. It's like 242.50 sodium chloride. You got potassium chloride, magnesium chloride, lithium sulfate, calcium phosphate, and silica. Yeah, I wouldn't be drinking it. Although I do find it funny that somebody left a jug of water in a book.
You right?
The Kidney Springs.
It's a fun idea.
Yeah.
Look, sign.
Sign noises?
See, look at this pillar right here.
Oh, yeah, that's well maintained. Looks like they have flood here.
Yep.
Yeah, from
7.
Yeah.
How fun is that? You want to read it?
Sure. From 1891 to 1947, the city of Hot Springs experienced 7 great floods. The flood channel in front of you and the 2 dams, Holbrook, completed in 53, and the Cottonwood Springs, completed in 69, were designed and constructed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to reduce the risk of potentially deadly flooding in the historic Hot Springs downtown. The 2 dams provide nearly $1 million in annual benefits from flood control to the region. In 1947, flooding from the Fall River caused an estimated $20,000 in damage, or $225,000 in today's money, to their Sisters Hospital. And in June of 47, after the inspection was completed, the building and appliances were found to be salvageable, but the stockpile of medical supplies in the basement were reported as total loss. There were no human casualties documented as a direct result of the flood. The impact to the wildlife living in the Fall River and Hot Springs meant some animals that called the area home were washed downstream. In their place, an unknown number of rattlesnakes arrived from the hills and were spotted around town.
That's fun.
Charming. The silver jackets.
Interesting.
Army double.
All right.
Okay.
On Talking Trail.
Now, Capitol Rock
That thing up there.
is a massive erosional remnant that tells the story of a long ago time for millions of years. Beginning about 60 million years ago, deposited layers of alluvium, stream debris, was deposited by streams from the Rocky Mountains in the area where you are standing and out east much of the Great Plains. However, about 5 to 7 million years ago, likely due to climatic change, streams began to erode and remove much of the material they had once deposited. The remains of these interstream divides are buttes or tablelands, such as Capitol Rock and the steep-sided hillsides known as the Long Pine Hills. Older late Cretaceous sediments, which underline the white sediments of Capitol Rock, give the lower slopes of the Long Pines a badlands appearance. Similar land units are viewable with the Slim Buttes and the Short Pines to the east and the Chalk Buttes in the Ekalaka Hills to the west. Now, named for its resemblance to the U.S. Capitol building, the uniquely carved white mass stands out predominantly against ponderosa pine trees and mixed grass prairie landscape, allowing it to be seen up to 50 miles away from the east. This has made it a popular destination for local gatherings and picnics, which have been documented since as early as the first settlers in the 1880s. Large fires in 1988 and 2002 have reduced the amount of forested vegetation in the adjacent area. Reforestation efforts were completed nearby in 2012. Now, the Secretary of the Interior designated this site as a national landmark in recognition of the Capitol Rock significance as an outstanding scenic example of the Paleogene period deposits that once covered much of the Great Plains. NNL sites are natural areas that represent the diversity of the nation's natural heritage and are considered the best remaining examples of such features. The National Park Service administers the NNL program and works in partnership with the NNL landowners to advocate for and assist in the conservation of these areas.
Interesting.
Now, up on the hilltop, there also is a great big placard. And there's pictures of it on the internet. There should be a hiking trail, but I do not see it. Might be where that
I think I kind of see.
kind of a depression there
Yeah.
that works its way back up. But yeah, you can see what sort of gravel we drove up on. Pretty decent gravel, actually. Of course, it's also very early in the season. It's not even Memorial Day yet. But this is the other little goodie, for those of you who are following along at home. They now have, in Carter County, one of my favorite counties of Montana, has a Talking Trail app that not only will tell you about some of their trails, it'll tell you about ghost towns.
Woo.
And fun stuff like that in Carter County. Carter County has the advantages that they're a huge county with very few of these things called humans. So, but yeah, they also have Ekalaka Museum, which is an excellent museum. So,
Been to.
yep. Talking point 1064.
Ooh.
So, but shall we continue on our journey?
On we go.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. Camp Collier, June 1876 to June 1877. The camp was at the mouth of the Red Canyon, sometimes Camp Collier, was established at the site in mid-June 1878 to protect the travelers over the 150-mile Cheyenne Black Hills Stage Road. It came into being after the Sioux, resentful of the white invasion of their sacred Pahasaha, had that spring killed a number of persons traveling through the steep-walled canyon, believed to be the most practical route from Cheyenne to the newly found Black Hills Goldfields. The camp was garrisoned by Company K, 4th Infantry on detached service from its headquarters post at Fort Laramie, been there, Wyoming Territory, and it was commanded by Captain William S. Collier. The garrison initially included 2 officers, 40 8 enlisted men and 1 civilian position, but sequentially varied from 38 to 58, excluding the women, laundresses, and their children. The troopers constructed a stockade 125 feet square with bastions on the northeast and southwest corners on the flat below the mouth of the canyon, and planted evergreens around it. The Cheyenne Black Hills Telegraph line reached the post on the 30th of September and Custer on the 19th of October, 1878. There was little trouble with the Indians following back here. From establishment of the camp, but alkaline water, boredom, and desertion were major problems. The stockade was abandoned on the 13th of June, 1877, when the Siege Company opened a new shortcut route from Hat Creek to Jenny Stockade in Deadwood. Jenny Stockade, if you remember, was up by Newcastle.
Right.
The buildings were dismantled, and all salvageable timber and other equipment was then taken northwest to camp at Sage Creek as Company K departed for its new station at Fort D.A. Russell near Cheyenne, while other Army units had camped for brief periods within the Black Hills. Camp Collier at the mouth of Red Canyon had the distinction of being the first military establishment of any permanence in the Black Hills proper, existing for approximately 1 year.
Wow. Whole year.
Whole year. There were some horses.
Yeah, I know. They were running in the background, and I was trying to zoom in as you were reading.
Yeah. But for the sheer fun of it, we're actually going to head up Red Canyon and see what's up there around there. There's the horsies. But we will give you guys a heads up, because I guess there's supposed to be a sign up there where the Wetz family was massacred. Yep.
I said I was trying to zoom into them because they were romping around in the background.
Yeah.
So I would be on the sign, and then off the sign, and on the sign.
Yes, hold the duck here. Okay, well, on the map here, for 385 Gold Rush Byway, it lists points of interest. There's the Sudman Newman Heritage House, the Lodgepole Depot Museum, Fort Sidney Post Commander's Home and Officers' Quarters, Ash Hollow State Historical Park, Historical Museum, Crescent Lake National Wildlife Refuge, the courthouse and jail rocks. That's all the way down by what's the one highway we were just talking about?
2?
Bridgeport. Yeah, way down there by Highway 80. Oregon Trail Wagon Train, Chimney Rock Pony Express Station, which we found out they do every year. They run the Pony Express. Night Museum we've been to. The gravesite of old Jules Sandoz. We got to go find that. Carhenge.
Down there.
Box Butte Reservoir. Pine Ridge Mountain Bike Trail. Waldron Lake State Recreation Area. The Metcalf Wildlife Management Area. The Tri-State Old Time Cowboy Museum. I think that's in Gordon. Museum of the Fur Trade. We've been there. Chadron State Park. We drive by there. Nebraska National Forest and Pine Ridge, Trailside Museum, I think we've been there, Fort Robinson State Park, Soldier Creek Wilderness, the Hudson Ming Bison Kill, the Toadstool Geologic Park, our Heritage Guest Ranch, which we want to go stay at sometime, and the High Plains Homestead.
Yeah, there's several of those we need to do.
Yeah, there's a bunch of dots that correspond with the numbers on those signs that we were just looking at. The next sign says, "Thar's gold in them thar hills." 1874, 2 scientists attached to the Cusper expedition uncover gold in the sacred Siouxland. In South Dakota, and the Black Hills Gold Rush is on. Now, during the Allison Commission, we mentioned this at the big treaty tree during the commission in 1875. The Sioux refused to sell their reservation to the U.S. government. This territory, known as the Dakotas, had been assured to them in the Treaty of 1868. But the government, despite promises to the contrary, could not discourage prospectors from invading once the word of gold leaked out. It was 1876, thousands of fortune hunters were in the Black Hills, and another round of war with the Sioux had begun. Now, Sidney, down in Nebraska here, was already an established trailhead, shipping goods to the Nebraska Indian agencies. From 1876 to 1881, the Sidney Black Hills Trail carried much of this traffic, supplies, and gold to and from the Black Hills mining towns. During 1878 and 1879 alone, over 22 million pounds of freight moved along this trail, and some 200,000 in gold shipments moved south to Sidney to the railroad. Today, the trail offers a different kind of riches: panoramic views, unique geology, fascinating museums and attractions, national forests, outdoor recreation, and friendly communities. Now, interesting enough, it says, how do you clean a house that's made of dirt?
You don't.
In 1878, Joseph and I moved here from Indiana. He still farms, but out here he doesn't have to curse the tree roots and rocks. Using a new plow for the virgin soil, he toils with great enthusiasm, brought by our new life in the new land. For me, nothing is the same. We live in a 14 by 16 one-room home made of 4-inch thick bricks of prairie sod. I've put muslin on the walls to brighten it up.
I don't know what that is.
It's so dark inside that I have to go outside to mend Joseph's breeches. During heavy rain, the roof leaks, turning our dirt floor into a muddy mess. Ew.
Ew.
In dry weather, dirt and the grass fall like rain inside, along with bugs. Sometimes cook holding an umbrella over the food.
Fun.
Mice live in our walls, and the rattlesnakes that prey upon them sun themselves on the windowsills. I fear for the children's safety. No kidding. It's laundry day. I'll haul water from the creek and start a fire to heat the water. I'll pour the wash water on our garden and throw on some of the vegetable peelings for fertilizer. Waste not. With no coal or wood, the children collect cow chips to burn for cooking and for winter warmth.
Yay!
I get so lonely, a letter from home takes weeks to get there, or if it's even delivered at all. News from home is also slow to arrive. Our nearest neighbor is 4 miles away. With the tending of children, livestock, the garden, and housework, staying around here is pretty much my lot in life. Despite the hardships, this is our home, on land we call our own. We're here to make a new life, and providing for the family is my role. Still, I occasionally sing the homesteader's lament as I shoo mice out of the soddy. Soon we landed in Nebraska, where they have much land to spare, but more ever since we've been here, we've been mad enough to swear. First, we built us a sod house, and we tried to raise some trees, but the land was so full of coyotes, and our sod house full of fleas.
Oh no!
Last one, again, area attractions. They mentioned the Mary Sandos High Plains Heritage Center. Been there. Gravesite of old Jules Sandos.
I haven't found that one yet.
Nope. North Platte Valley Museum.
I haven't found that one yet.
That's in Gering, down by Scottsbluff. The Night Museum we've been to. The Saddles Military Museum we've been to. And Dobby's. We were just there. And it says, for more information on attractions and activities along this highway, contact the Box Butte County Visitors Committee at 1-800-738-0648. But yeah, it's, this 385, it's kind of our what you want to call a back door out of South Dakota. And you get to see a lot of neat little towns. We love coming down to Alliance because there's always, interesting things for us to find. I just got done doing a short history from the one lady who works there, and we'll probably be coming back in September, if not an additional early visit, because they are saying that the actual tour, 2.5 hours long. We're looking forward to it.
That's without questions.
Yeah, without questions. Should we just show up at like 9 a.m. and start from there?
I think we need to start be here by at least 1.
Yeah.
At the latest.
Give us 5 hours to talk, yak, and all the good stuff. And interestingly enough, we also avoided one huge hailstorm we found out. Down by Bridgeport, which we were just mentioning, was getting golf ball sized hail. And apparently where my mom grew up in Banner County, they were getting golf ball sized hail too. So I'm like, ooh, joy. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a stormy summer, it looks like. It looks like we got another cell moving in now. So we are going to head for home and hopefully not run into any more fun stuff. But for the Bud Files, this is Joe. That's Sue. We'll catch you guys on the road.
We go up the elevator.
For over 100 years, the Majestic Home Steak Slime Plant has stood watch over the city of Deadwood. Originally, the plant was called the Processed Gold from the ore slurry, commonly called slime, that was mined from the neighboring city of Lee. By 73, mining practices became more efficient and environmentally cleaner, so the plant was permanently closed. In 2010, a combination of historic preservation and entertainment converged when Deadwood Mountain Grand was restored and opened its doors to ensure Deadwood's mining heritage remained preserved for years to come. In order to create a true historic multi-purpose resort, Deadwood Mountain Grand's hotel portion of the property was required to be built directly behind the original structure. The layout might have resulted in a pair of elevator rides to reach your spectacular Deadwood Mountain Grand room, but we are proud the resort has been built to a true testament of honoring Deadwood's historic preservation standards. Well, that's cool.
That's what they meant by the double
elevator.
Elevator earlier. Oh, interesting.
Arrow to build this, but this is also what that was.
Right.
And we were in there.
Yeah, we were in there. Yeah. We could go back down there and do a small short. I thought about it when we were in there, but I wasn't sure.
Cool. It looks like there's already a little office building.
Yeah.
Out where the parking garage is now.
Yeah. Is that where the parking? Yeah, you're right. That is across the street. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, because that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but I can see the separation now.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Original Deadwood, Old Deadwood Trail, original ruts. Max shot by
Gilmore, who in 1882 was hanged for this crime, and others in Deadwood in 1880 through 1906. And we have a GPS listed up there. When I get home, I'm going to be able to dig that up, and so we can plant to exactly where this is. We are between Phillip and I think it's Castlewood, if I remember right.
I don't know.
But we're right close. We're between Quinn's down there too. So
Quinn's down that way.
Yeah. I can pull it up on my map. Map noises.
Cottonwood's the first one I see.
So yeah, Cottonwood would be the next town. But yeah, a lot of these. This is part of the old Bismarck. This is part of the old Fort Pierre to Deadwood Trail, and it follows along the old 1416. That, if you folks remember the notes, we had pop up at Lakeside. They popped up along Elk Creek. So one of the threads actually went down into Rapid City, and then they would come up where.
I don't think we've taken pictures of those. So I don't think we've videotaped any of them.
I don't think
so. I don't know we need to go and do like little shorts and then like
Link it all together again.
sew them together and like here's the trail virtually, or no, video. Virtually would work, I guess.
Yeah. There's also a book, interestingly enough, that's at Phillips Library that shows it on the map.
Map noises.
Map noises. I like my map noises.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They can't really follow along unless they're on Instagram. And I'm not sure I've marked any of them. They're just kind of generic pictures. Because before you couldn't mark individual pictures. And I discovered the other day, the thing said now you can come on to under each individual picture. I'm like, now I kind of want to go back and like label things. Because before I couldn't label them.
Yeah, what we can do. And what's weird is that they only have these to right before wall.
Right.
And then they kind of turn into a different set of photographs and pictures
Well, it's
and
a
markers.
different
County too.
So yeah, but at least they're still kind of keeping track of it.
Yeah. And Deadwood Trail was always a good one too because until they got the railroad through, this was their version of the interstate.
Right.
And so it'll be a fun one to piece together as we go along. But yeah, we got to do from Wall to Fort Pierce sometime because they go. I know they go all the way up to Midland, and then from Midland north up by Hayes, and then Hayes across. So yeah, we could easily do them all. Yeah.
I'm just saying that is something maybe we could be our next project now that we finish the road project.
Mm-hmm. In fact, if it almost looks like it's on the other side of that fence right there, the wheel ruts.
That's what I'm thinking. I was trying to zoom into it. Mm-hmm. But I think that's
where that brown divot is. It's going down that way and then back up that way. So, yeah, these are original wheel ruts from 1906. Over 100 years old. In fact, 120 this year.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. So. The Bud Files in the Pursuit of History.
Meow. Sign. Is this a newer one?
I think it is. This here is the James Scotty Phillip Ranch. In 1890, freighter James Scotty Phillip returned off the Fort Pierre Deadwood Trail to view the beauty of the Bad River. Ta-da!
Ooh. By the way, Bad River, bad.
Lush grasses, shielding trees, and flowing springs persuaded the Scottish migrant to establish his ranch in this area. His wife, Sarah Larrabee, was of French and Cheyenne ancestry, and her heritage entitled them to settle on this site of the Great Sioux Reservation. Their endeavor launched one of the largest cattle operations in the United States, grazing 40,000 head of cattle, hundreds of horses, and employing 85 cowboys during its peak. Now, after immigrating in 1874, Scotty witnessed the demise of the American bison while working as a prospector, teamster, and army courier. 25 years later, he was a prosperous cattle baron with hopes of saving the symbol of the West from extinction. In 1901, he purchased a herd of bison preserved by fellow South Dakotan Frederick Dupree for $10,000. Scotty fenced 15,000 acres north of Fort Pierre and drove the herd 100 miles to pasture where it grew to 1,000, the largest in the world at that time. Scotty would die in 1911, but his herd helped recreate the populations throughout the United States, including Custer State Park.
Of course, I heard that.
Now, the thing that's also interesting about this fellow was that he had, at one time, 4 different mansions.
Ooh.
He had one up by Grindstone. He had one down by the Badlands. He had one out by Fort Pierre. And then there was a 4th one. I just got done picking up a book about him that talks about it. The guy was kind of phenomenal when it came to both ranching and also in the efforts to keep the bison alive. Him and that Dupree were really big into that. And for what it's worth, he pulled it off. And of course, you know, Phillips Scotties are the town and the mascot in Phillips, South Dakota. But yeah, all this was his ranch. All this great big wide open area is huge. Imagine just the bison rolling through here, though.
I wish we'd see some, but I'm not right here.
No, the major group of bison that they had in this area, this was for the cattle, and then the bison are over by Fort Pierre, which is about 94 miles that way. But yeah, when next time we go up to Fort Pierre, he's buried in the cemetery up there, which everybody's like, well, why isn't he buried in Philip?
And you want to be?
No, you know, he probably never would have realized that he had a town named after him, kind of like Murdo, the guy Mackenzie Murdo. Never went to his own town, but he was a cattle baron, and people to this day still recognize him for the contributions he made to the industry. So, all right, but that's our happy little sign. Brand new one, though, because I don't ever remember this one being here. So, Coolidge.
All right, read the sign.
The Redwood Water Tank was built by the Wyoming Central Railway in 1886.
Ooh, so it's very old.
It's older than South Dakota. It was first filled by a windmill, and then other types of pumps that stored water for the steam engines that pulled the trains, one of only 6 remaining in the nation. The Sioux City and Pacific Railroad surveyed the route from Shatter, Nebraska to Fort Fetterman, Wyoming Territory in 1883. They organized the Wyoming Central Railway, a Wyoming corporation, as required by law to build or own a railroad in the territory in 1886. The railroad and facilities were constructed. They were leased to the Fremont, Elkhorn, and Missouri Valley, RR, a subsidiary of the SCNPR Railroad. Frank Lusk was a director and the local agent for the Wyoming Central Railway, headquartered here in Lusk, the only post office on that route. Mr. Lusk was also an agent for the Pioneer Townsite Company that established the locations of depots and platted the local town sites of Van Tassel, Node, Lusk, Manville, Keyline, Lost Springs, Shawnee, Orrin, Douglas, Glenrock, and Casper.
He didn't do anything, did he?
No. Livestock shipments, mining supplies, and the source of coal enticed the railroads to build west. They were big business and very competitive. The railroads were instrumental in the settlement of the West and helped unite the continent into one nation. All of these railroads were consolidated into the Chicago Northwestern by 1903. By 1971, it halted service through Wyoming. In the 1980s, the Union Pacific Railroad, a competitor for over a century, obtained this portion as a route for coal trains from the Powder River Basin. The Niobrara County Historical Society obtained the tank in 1971 and has repaired and restored it with lots of community and individual support.
Yeah, well, you told us that they just recently put some new bands on it to try to reinforce it, which is very cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Zoom in, you can see the bands.
1886, wow. A long time ago.
Maybe some varnish or weatherproofing would be ideal.
Something. Do some tarring on that, on the boards. On the redwoods. Red paint. Maybe red wood.
On we go.
On we go.